Next up is Darla Jo Smith. She's married 20 years today. She has 8 children, 24 grandchildren. She's on the board of FOCA, Freedom of Choice Act. Thank you, Darla Jo Smith.
Hello, folks. Can you all hear me? Yeah. Well, let's get yourselves stirred up good, because that's what it's going to take. Yeah. Just holding the umbrella isn't all it takes, but you got here, and that's a big beginning. People count. They count how many heads, they count your feet. They can hear your feet coming. You know, it sounds like a few, maybe 1,000, 1,700. 25, can you hear it? 25 phone calls in on the board drives them crazy. Promise me that every one of you will go home and make a phone call. Don't let me see one flyer laying on that ground. I'm going to tell you something. It took time to print them. It took thought to put into the words on them. It's not foolish. Read it, take it home, copy it, understand it, get a better understanding. I'm about education, and talk to your children. Family first, then your neighbors, and then you reach the rest of them out there and talk to your neighborhood. We can't be cowards. There's no time for it. Let me tell you, John just spoke to you, and I thought about Pocahontas. You know, we've got so many lies out there for our children. Contrary to what the movie taught our kids, Pocahontas didn't marry John. It was a different one. And they suit themselves to teach our kids. They're after their mind to teach them what they want. Maybe it's just a movie, but listen, wake up. Just a movie. The truth isn't there. That's history. Pocahontas is history of this great nation. They will do everything they can to take it away from us. I got recognized to come up here and speak because I'm an active mother and grandma. Can you hear me? I'm a great grandma. I'm 63. There is no reason why you can't do something. You've got 2 good feet. If you can't and you're in a wheelchair, somebody will push you. I push lots of people. I promise you I'll help push you. When it comes to voting, let me tell you something else. Don't say, and I've heard it said by those that are Christians and good voting people, and they have said, I'm just not going to vote because what difference does it make? It makes a heck of a lot of difference. I don't care who. I don't care at some point sometimes. Of course, I do care. You know that's oxymoron. I do care who you vote for, but I've told them I'll be over to pick you up. Got no way to get there. I'll be right there. Well, you know I'm not voting for your so-and-so. I said, I don't care. You vote, because one day what you don't do, they will take away. The very freedom that you lay down, they'll take it. It'll no longer be yours, and you won't be hollering yay. So now's the time for us to step forward and do something. They asked me to speak and cut it as short as possible, so I'm doing it as fast as I can go. There is information out here all over going to be handed to you, if it hasn't been already. On FOCA, which is Freedom of Choice Act. Sounds good, don't it? There's on the CAP. There is on everything that's going on. Read it. Make the phone calls. That's the cry I hear back here from those who are working. Please make the phone call. Call your representatives. Get on the phone. I work with, as I was called to work on this task force, I'm not on the board of Right to Life. I am on the board of the task force working on FOCA, Freedom of Choice Act. They called me because they knew I was an activist and I had a big mouth and they knew I would talk. Some of you might remember me from the 10 Commandment Project. I used to be on WVHI radio and I put that big billboard up. Can you hear? That was really a project of this city. I never paid for that billboard. You paid for it, $2 at a time, $28,000. Kept that billboard up 5 years. Why would we want to put that billboard up? Well, at the very same time that billboard was put up, the 10 Commandment Act was restored on the Juvenile Act, restored to Indiana. But I didn't see any movement. It came later, so I put the billboard up, and I got a lot of flack, but I didn't care. You must be doing the right thing when you get flack. So I was driving down the road, and I said to myself, and this is to encourage you, hey, I was driving down the road playing my music and my Bach and then, of course, my Christian tapes, and along came this kid in a Mustang with his hat cocked and the gorgeous car, filthiest music I ever heard. And I looked over and I was driving in my van looking down, and I said to myself, I'll just turn my music up. And I swear I heard go through my mind, I didn't hear audible, but I heard go through my mind, take a look again. When they're not with you, that's your kids. That's your kids and your grandkids when they're not with you. And that was about 8, 9 years ago. And I looked at that kid and compassion came over me. And that's what you better have for your children or your children's children. You better stir it up and you better get some compassion because you and I are going to make it and we know it. But what about them? When we die, what about them? What about the lies that's being told to them? Falsehoods. For instance, a fetal heart begins to beat, I don't know when. When can you say that thing is really real? At 21 days after fertilization, the heart begins to beat. That is a fact. Medical fact. They lie constantly to our children. All right, it's wrap-up time. I'm telling you right now, get yourself stirred. This FOCA, Freedom of Choice Act, is the most horrendous thing in the world. It will restore partial birth abortion. An infant laying on, when did our listen, we need to unite. All over the nation they're doing this at the same time. When did our parties, I switched parties way back when I found out what was going on. When did our party set up all night long to determine at what stage, instead of going through education and the welfare and the roads and jobs, when did they set up all night long and decide at what stage they should slice that baby's throat and suck its brains out? Tell me that one. That's why we had to change parties. That's why I changed. We have to get ourselves moving, folks. Partial birth abortion is a horrendous, hideous thing, but we are covering everything. This paper that they're passing out will cover everything that I was going to say. So read it, please. Stir yourself. Don't let me see one on the ground. Call. Make those calls. That is your given freedom. Do it while you can. Don't worry about, listen, I'm wrapping it up now, but I want to tell you this. I've heard people say, don't ask a radio host to talk. I've heard people say, well, I'm afraid. Well, I don't want to put my name. I got news for you. My husband owns Smith's Bait and Tackle. I'm not advertising. It's raining. They're not fishing today. Hey, when you come in there and you want your fishing license, I pop you in the computer, which belongs to the DNR, and you know what comes up? I put your social in to get your fishing license. Everything about you comes up. Some of them get mad. How do you know my business? I said, I don't know your business, but they do. They already know you, folks. God bless.
Thank you so much.